Hello, everybody. I am
Hi.
SunPsychic Jean. Please welcome my special guests today, Stacey and Daphne. And welcome, ladies, and everybody. You may have remember Stacey and Daphne. I had each of these ladies on my show individually earlier this month, and what an amazing experience with each of you. So, how are you doing today, ladies?
Doing great.
Doing well.
Basking in the energy of the flowers.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
know, and Easter time too. I mean, this isn't an Easter flower, but it reminds me of the colors, the beautiful colors, and the newness, and just the inviting, uh, just there, even the appearance, the visual, and it's like it's so inviting and inspiring, that visual. And I think that up on my thumbnail I had a very special uh, photo of a flower that I don't recall. I'll have to look up the name of it and put it below. Stacy was like, "What's the name of it?" I'm like, "I don't know, it's just really cute." And it was so gentle and so inviting, and really just very unique. And this is just part of the wonder of flower essences and radiant abundance, right? I
Yes,
love
and
that.
thank you.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say thank you for inviting us on. We're both really curious to hear about your experience with the meditation that we did together.
Yeah, it was amazing. And I just want to say hello to a couple of people. Oh, JR says, I woke up and thought it was Easter. One more day. Jenny is here, and Jessica and Sharon Sipe. Hi, Sharon. Look, Sharon has all of Stacy's contacts already. Nice, very nice. Thank you, Sharon. I have a lot of information for all of you, and I'm going to be popping it into the chat. And I will also add it to the show notes below. Not all the links are in the show notes below that we're going to be talking about today. So I'll have to reference back and put them in below after the show. But we're going to be talking about the experience with the radiant abundance activation, the experience with connecting with the flowers, along with the sound healing and the meditation that was along with it. It was so multidimensional, and it was an amazing event. And we're going to be talking about a couple of other upcoming events that these ladies both have individually. They're offering individually. So there's a lot of information coming up for us all. Let's see. Okay. Um, so I really enjoyed. I felt like the event. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the radiant abundance. I have my journal here, and the activation that we had during the equinox. And if you want to just give them a little bit of a description of what this sort of entailed, and then I'll tell them a little bit about my experience.
Well, I think we should let Stacy explain what happened, what what we were doing.
So basically for the event, Daphne and I came together to bring forth sound healing, flower frequencies, and some activations for the Akashic Records to bring forth a deep healing around abundance, around our self-worth, to bring in and usher in abundance for the year ahead, as well as a deep activation of our mission and purpose in this lifetime, and a heightened connection to our psychic and spiritual development. So it was definitely an experience to create. And it was definitely something that expanded, both Daphne and I, and it allowed us to come together in a brand new way and to try something brand new. And that's why we wanted to have SunPsychic Jean to tell us about the experience that she had, because we have gotten such amazing feedback, and it was such a powerful combination. And it's just something that we're going to continue to do, and something that we're going to continue to evolve and see where it takes us. So, yeah.
Wow, very well said. Very well said. Thank you, Stacey. Yeah, it was healing, and it was a meditation experience as well as a spiritual connection to the energies. And the sound was healing. The Akashic Record Masters meditation was healing, and the flower essences were healing. And I felt very much drawn to the sound and the flowers. No offense, Stacey, but I'm just saying that with the Akashic Records, I feel like it opened up the availability and almost like created that connection for us and with us, and also guided us through the healing process and allowed us to um, play with either sense, whichever sense, and all the senses at the same time. So the sound healing aspect was really transformational. It really put me in a vibrational state, in a relaxation state that enabled me to get in tune with the flower frequencies. Do you mind if I show which flowers? Okay.
Please.
Go ahead. Yeah.
This is my workbook, and this is the flower of life here. And we had 4 quadrants of different flowers that we chose and we focused on. So we had a glass of water, and we placed our glass of water over top of this flower essence, or this flower of life sacred geometry print here. And I was inspired, and I always have my crystals around, and I had 4. I don't have the 4 points here, I had moved them since then, but I had 4 points, so I actually put on my 4 points crystals. I was so ramped up. I was communing with these flowers. I was on another realm, another frequency for sure. It was amazing. It was healing. It was invigorating. I didn't expect it to be invigorating. I knew it would be relaxing. I knew it would be healing. I knew it would be soothing, but I didn't. It was I felt like almost the flower's personality a little bit when I was introduced to each one. And I was telling the ladies backstage, if I can just go back to, we did a meditation and a focus with each flower. And with each flower, I felt as though like the sound would start, and Stacey would start with the meditation and the words, the downloads from the Akashic Record Masters. So we're listening to the meditation and the suggestions and the releasing, and Daphne was playing the bowls, the singing bowls, or the crystal bowls. And so all of this is sort of going on. And then all of a sudden you feel like this new energy coming in. And it was the flower essence. It was the flower's essence. It was the spirit aspect of the flower. It was the sentient aspect of the flower. And I said, I felt like the flower was coming up and saying, do you see me yet? Do you feel me yet? Can you feel this? Can you feel this? It was so gentle. So it was almost like came from behind, or came from a place where I was not even aware, because of the sound and the meditation going on. I was not even aware that the flower that we were focusing on was going to come in at the same time. And this flower starts coming in, and they're like, can you feel this? Can you feel this? And I was like, oh, I think the flower is here. Like I'm meeting the energy of the flower and the healing energy of the flower. And then the flower took a piece of me that I didn't know existed and said, come with me, and experience the creation that I have, the nature, the nature, the aspect of nature that I am, and the aspect of creation that I am. And it pulled me into the flower at the same time, that I had never felt that connection to a flower before. I didn't even know there was a spot inside of me that could go and commune almost with that flower's essence. It was so amazing. And the sound healing, the meditation, and the flower, and the sacred geometry, and the water, and it was amazing. And we did this 4 times, y'all. So I was like floating by the time.
I'm so glad to hear you say that, because I was a little concerned. The Akashic Records told us to put all this stuff together. And I'm like, is it too much? And apparently not. And of course, we had amazing people come to this, like yourself. And I just think everyone who was there was ready to open that door and walk through it. And I'm so excited to hear you talk about the flowers energy that way, because they are indeed multidimensional. They have deep knowledge. There are elders on this planet. They've been here for hundreds of millions of years, and humanity has not, right? So we have so much to learn from them. And you can journey with the same flower 100 times and never run out of things to learn.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was really very touching, and an experience I won't soon forget. And I feel as though there's aspects of the human awareness that is clouded with our conditioning from before, or our analytical side, or the ego side, where the sound sort of like puts in this harmonic hum that sort of alters our state of consciousness, so that we're not in our thinking analytical, like, oh, what do I have to do tomorrow? Do I have to get my keys ready for tomorrow when I get to? We won't be thinking of that, because this sound is pulling us up from outside of that everyday thinking brain into our more higher state of consciousness. And then with Stacey doing the meditation and the words and the suggestions for the healing is on another different level. It's almost like it was in the background. And when I felt like this flower, I thought, oh, I think I sensed the flower coming up, coming forward. It was really interesting to find all of these things together.
Yeah, I love what you said about the flowers too, because I feel like they really are an invitation for us to remember something within ourselves. Like they are so activating, but they are also a part of us. And so it's so amazing to connect with nature and have it reflect in our true nature. And then with with the sound things, with the sound healing, it reminds me of just like washing out the other noise, washing out our ego, because the sound comes in and it brings us up. So yeah, and it is a very powerful combination, because like the suggestions are what bring in that opening for that flower to emerge, and then the sound kind of like puts you in that heightened state to receive. And so they all work together harmoniously. And yeah, it's a really great experience. So thank you so much
It
for sharing.
is, and it's a wonderful healing modality. And I do know that people use flower essences for many different reasons, many different ailments, so to speak, or conditions that they want to remedy on an everyday basis, whether it's be insomnia or anxiety or fear or trauma or pain. These flower essences are really they're like caretakers, of a part of us that is that medical doctors really just can't reach. And we're becoming more and more sensitive, and the vibration and the frequency is rising in humanity and on the earth as well, that this is going to be integrated combined with all other types of different modalities and healing different types of healing things.
Modalities.
Yeah. And the flowers are reminding me that it was a medical doctor who brought forth this modality. Dr. Edward Bach was a epidemiologist and a medical doctor in London, and he was desperate to find some way to reach soldiers that were coming back from World War I. And in those days, they called it shell shock. Now we know it as PTSD. And he had an amazing spiritual download that accessed the flowers, and he brought forth 38 particular essences for different problems that human beings have on a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual level. And now, of course, we have hundreds of essences to work with. So there are beautiful combinations of flowers that can help you no matter what is going on in your life. And I'll tell you that this is the happiest period of my life when I've been working with the flowers for the last couple of years. And it is, as Stacey said, a remembering of that connection, because we belong in nature, we belong to nature, and welcoming that connection can heal deep parts of our psyche and our soul.
That's so true. That's so true. You know, when I hear you say it, I know what I felt, and I know the mm, spontaneity and the newness, and like I didn't know that part of me, that flower was inviting to come back to nature and to come back to the creation of nature that they know so well and that they're vibrating at, and they invited that part of me that was probably so dormant and never awakened, because it's that nature part of me, it's that creative part of me that this flower invited me to step out and to connect with them. And it's really it's quite amazing, but it is, I'm touched that you said that I feel like I've awakened that inside of me now, for sure. So we do have a couple of graphics that we wanted to bring up, and so I'm not sure if we want to start with this one, Daphne, if you can help me.
Oh, sure. This I have been studying with Sarah Artemisia for the last couple of years, and she has a free course, How to Communicate with Plant Consciousness. It's learnplantlanguage.com. And I thought, Jean, that you would appreciate that course, as would your viewers. And she occasionally offers an academic kind of classes as well, but this one is a great place to start. And I just adore her, and she's so in tune with plant consciousness. She also has a podcast that I listen to quite often, and I just invite anyone who thinks that this might soothe some part of your soul to start talking to plants. It sounds insane, and it is just a rich source of spiritual support and learning and growing. So I just invite you to even have a direct experience with the plants. Just go out into your yard or a park and see what you can tune into. I know, Jean, you're extremely sensitive, and you probably have a lot of sensitive viewers as well. Nothing beats a direct experience with the plants. But
Absolutely.
could we talk about the 4 activations that were
Oh,
present in the meditation that we did together? So I really want to hear what you think of these and what observations you've come up with since the meditation.
mm. Yeah. You know, I think what was interesting about this is it was also something that I was actively working on. I felt like letting go of old patterns and the feelings of unworthiness. I did a show on the Crone Zone talking about acceptance and what it is and what it's not. And I've been sort of nudged by my spirit guides to talk about this. And also, I've been doing the Akashic Record healing with Terry Suzuki, and we recently did jealousy, and we also did spiritual sovereignty as well. And it's all around me. Like all of these subjects are all coming up for all of us, I feel. So I'm not sure if I could say from before to after, um, but let me see. I it's really enhanced, I think, what I already had begun. Um, I I just yeah, I think it really did strengthen. Um, the clear and reconnect, I think, would have to be you know, sort of the opening that I felt, that I allowed myself to open up enough to, like, you know, relax my sort of irrational mind enough to open up and allow that creativity, that spark of nature that is inside of me that I didn't know I had, to come up and to be healed and to commune with the flower, I think would be the clear and reconnect to your inner sovereignty and source abundance. I feel as though that could have been related to that aspect. Affirm your mission and purpose in this lifetime. Like I said, I feel like I've been called to this. It's sort of like in this year. And it's just reaffirming, awaken and activate to your next level psychic gifts. You know, I think it's still working. I think it's still working. I don't know that there's any one thing that I can point out that is that that is coming to mind right now. But I think that it may not be noticeable that I can put my finger on it. It may be down the line, or maybe in another couple of weeks or a couple of months, I can turn around and say, well, that whole thing that I did there made all this happen. You know what I mean? Like, it may not come up for me just yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I can have a very clear sense that this would be something that unfolds throughout spring, right? So every season lasts about 3 months. And one of the things that we have talked about is how gentle and powerful the flowers are. And they're not in the business of shocking us, right? Except for one plant that I've encountered. We'll talk about that a different time. But the flowers are really about helping us unfold. It's like if you watch a flower go from bud to full bloom, right? That is not sudden. It is inexorable. You cannot stop it. That plant is going to bloom and it's going to fully unfold. And that's the model that they set for our growth as well. So I know that the first time Stacey and I rehearsed this meditation in preparation for the event, I felt like, okay, these are all great things I've been working on. I can see where I'm going. I can see the future progress that I'm going to make. And I have been testing myself, like, what has changed since then? And just like you, it feels like such a gradual process and progress for us. And yet, just a couple of days ago, I bought some stock that I was interested in and had researched. And it was the first time in my life that I had bought stock without discussing it with my husband and having him stand next to me while I made the purchase. Right? And I'm like, hey, that's right. I have sovereignty. It's my money. I know what to do with it. And I trusted myself. And I directly attribute that change in my behavior. I didn't even think about it before I just made the purchase. I would go to him, we'd sit down, we'd look at my accounts together, and he would walk me through the steps. And I'm like, I don't need that. I have sovereignty.
Wow.
So I think over the next few months you will see things unfolding.
Yeah. Maybe we should ask those who we live with to see if they had noticed anything different in our behavior. And wow, you know, well, I have had some things happen for the next level psychic gifts, but I don't know that I want to. I'm not ready to articulate that right now, but I have noticed some things that surprise me. You know, like you know, like one of these things. So yeah, it's ever changing. It's ever changing, and you know, it's it was I think, like you said, it's going to be unfolding and changing naturally. Um, yeah.
One thing that I really appreciate with this whole idea of a gradual shift is because it's sustainable. You know, just like a flower doesn't just, you know, grow all in one day, you know, it goes over time and it uses the nutrients and soil and sunlight over a period to sustain itself and to, flourish new seeds and to keep growing. And so when I created the activation, I put the intention behind it that it would be guided by your higher self. And so, whatever is necessary for you at the time and whatever is needing to unfold, will. And because you have been doing the work, of course, it's going to be more gradual for you because it's like, you're already there, And so it's so interesting to see because I've mostly with the Blue Lotus. Like that one was the one that surprisingly was the most mysterious and activating for me. And I've noticed a lot of interesting things, and I've been seeing like just like orbs of light, and I've been seeing energy more. And I was like, well, maybe I just never noticed before, or maybe, something was changing, but it's been really cool. And I've just been playing with seeing energy and seeing auras and, like the energy in between your hands. I can see it now. And it's been interesting. And I've also been getting my guides. They've been giving me the nudge again because I've kind of been busy with life. And they've been really kind of honing in on me that it's a time that we really need to get focused on our spiritual practice development and be so grounded and like in it for whatever's coming up. Because I feel like April, the energy coming up is just like, just be centered and be grounded and have that connection to yourself, because you don't want to be taken off, by whatever is happening in the world. And even with abundance, that's why it was so important for us to do abundance, because how much of people's lives are dependent upon paying for living. We're like the only species who have to pay to exist. And so the whole idea behind the abundance activation was, to really start seeing that new way that abundance shows up for our lives, and the new ways in which we can share resources and trade and support each other, in our businesses, especially as like spiritual entrepreneurs and people who want to bring their gifts into the world. So yeah, I just love what we did and everything behind it. And I'm really excited to see what unfolds, because I wasn't just thinking for the next 3 months. I was thinking for the entire season, because the entire year, because the equinox is the traditional new year of, the cycles with Earth. And to be in sync with those, I wanted to infuse them with these 4 energies to carry out through the entire year so that they can really blossom. And so I would just expect them the whole year and into next year, depending on, how much growth you are able to access.
Mm-hmm. And we just passed the 2-week point. So with this, it was on the equinox, and it was only 2 weeks ago that this event occurred. So yeah, definitely. I think that's a good thing. I know that we have a journal here to write about it, but to kind of come back and look at these things, write down what our experience was at the time, and maybe a month from now, and maybe 3 months from now, and to measure something, to measure it, and to really notice it. But this, along with all the other natural occurrences and cosmic lineups that are affecting us, this in conjunction with all that. But I think one of the things that I'm most grateful for is how it's grounding me to my original nature, creative kind of nature aspect of my human body, and that this spiritual soul divine aspect of myself that is contained inside of this human essence, that I'm able to connect to the wonder, the spirit wonder of the physicalness. There is a spiritual aspect of physicality of our human body that I think that we dismiss, because we always want to go, oh, let's go over there, but this is spiritual right here. This is wonder. This is creation. This is a human, this is a sentient being, and all of the creatures on earth are sentient beings, and that we're all part of this a living spiritual experience as humans. And I'm telling you, I don't know who started to condition us away from this, but it is absolutely miraculous that we're walking around on this earth. I have had somebody's loved one on the other side say, have legs. You have legs. You're walking on earth. Take advantage of every opportunity. It's amazing that you are standing here on this earth in this world. Like they were saying how exciting it was to see their loved ones still here. And I thought, wow, I had never heard of a loved one tell me that, but how much of a miracle it is that we are here and that we are this sentient spiritual beings in this sentient spiritual realm and of creation. You know, I know that we have lives. I know that we have kids, we have jobs, we have cars, but just for a moment or for a few moments each day, just marvel in the miracle or the spectacle of what is actually going on around us. And it's reminding me, I'm getting the notion or the message to remind ourselves like what happened in Venice when the dolphins started swimming around the Venice canals again, and the moose would walk in downtown Paris or wherever, like the creatures, the nature came out of nowhere during the pandemic when everything had shut down. And it wasn't humanity that did that. It was the conditioning, and it was the addiction of materialistic kind of feeling and not living in harmony with this. It's almost like the indigenous people lived in harmony. They only took what they needed, and they only left behind something that was an offering for the earth. They didn't destroy as they walked through. They were living in harmony with nature and with creation, because I think they understood this. So I'm sure we can figure it out, but where we went astray, and towards this materialistic type of thought. And I understand that we live in that materialistic 3D world right now, and it's important, but I think it's also important to try and focus on the balance of it all. Like, do I really need this plastic cup? Is it something that I want to throw away and just do what you can, be conscious of it when you can, be aware of it, and just marvel in the spectacle and the miracle of all of it. It's really, and I think that awakened that grounding sense of, it's grounding, but it's spiritual in that grounding. And I think that was really profound for me.
That's so beautifully said, Jean. My attention's being drawn to the blue lotus again, because lotus flowers are grounded deep into the mud in their aquatic environment, right? They've got the mud, they've got their very strong stem. They grow upward towards the sun, trusting that there will be a place to blossom. They rise up above the water, and then they unfold in the sunlight. And then they are in communication with the sun and the air. So all of the elements are represented, and they are demonstrating for us how you can be absolutely grounded in the physicality of the 3D world, and yet reach for that communion and that spiritual union with the cosmos. And I think where we went wrong was the industrialization, right? The Industrial Revolution. And so I think of us as being industrialized people versus indigenous people, but we can heal and we can change things going forward. And I think one of the strongest messages I get from the plant kingdom and the plant world is that we can heal, we can reconnect, and we can move forward together. And no, things aren't going to be as they were 500 years ago, but we can make it so much better. So the messages of hope and encouragement and inspiration coming from the flowers is, I think, where it's at right now, because we have some work to do, but it's possible.
Mm-hmm. So, I mentioned my friend Terry Suzuki several times, and she's doing a Akashic healing series, and assisting her on Tuesday evenings. And I told her about this event that I was going to, and that when you and I were on together, Daphne, and she watched the the video that we did together, and she was so inspired that she went outside and laid in her patch of lilacs outside. And she said she just wanted to commune and listen to what the lilacs had to say to her. And she said all she could hear was this crow. Like, she was like, I didn't get where I wanted to go, but she said that we inspired her so much that she just laid into this patch of lilacs. I thought that was so beautiful. She said that the person who lived in the house before her and her husband bought the house must have been, I mean, they have like many different varieties of many different flowers and bushes and things that flower. And she said that she's, she just loves it every year, and different times, like different things bloom throughout the season. So she said she really is very fortunate in that too. So it is very inspiring. It's something that we don't often think about or point to when we think of our spirituality and connecting. But if I can just jump back, one of my first experiences when I was learning Reiki about 20 years ago, the Reiki teacher took us outside and said, "Here is a tree. Let's connect with this tree." And I was like, man, I'm like, I thought we were doing Reiki. Like, I wanted to do the magic stuff. I wanted to do the Reiki. I'm like, I don't want to, what's this tree? So I went over there and they said, put your hands up and just close your eyes and ask the tree to commune with you. Like, if you ask the tree and let me know what they said. And I was forever changed. I'm like, the tree, I felt the tree just responded to me. The tree said, welcome. The tree said, you're going to be learning a lot. The tree, like, I could feel the energy, and the trees are about communication, and trees are so very open, welcoming, and really good at telepathy. And I learned so much more than Reiki when I had those classes, but how amazing was it? And then they asked us to come home and find a tree in our neighborhood that we could talk to. And I have a tree out front that had a branch that was missing, and it had like like a wound where the branch used to be. And I asked, was it a storm, or was it, I don't know, was it the wires that came down or something, whatever it was. And I went and I gave the little wound area a healing, like it was a darker color, and it definitely looked like it was a major part of the tree that was missing. And I asked the tree, I said, does that hurt you? And I said, did it hurt when that was missing? And they said, no, that it was an offering, and it was almost like they only borrowed the limb for the time that they needed it, it wasn't anything that was missing. It was something that was it was always so gracious and generous. It was here for a time, and it's important. Like, they taught me to let go. Like, it's only here for this time that I needed it, and I no longer needed it. And it's okay. It's amazing the wisdom these plants and trees and flowers have.
Reiki opens the door to perception. If there's anyone out there who has really struggled to develop their psychic gifts, I would definitely encourage you to take a Reiki class. I Reiki'd the tree in Honolulu that's quite famous. I don't know if you've ever been to the International Marketplace. Well, it used to be sort of an outdoor, like, swap meet kind of place under this beautiful banyan tree. But then in between my visits to Honolulu, they had built this fancy shopping mall that totally surrounded the tree. And I was very concerned about the tree. So I sat down, asked for consent. May I send you Reiki? And as I was sending Reiki, and this was the first time I'd ever actually talked to a tree. I ever had that telepathic connection. I'd had energetic connections, but not telepathic. And as I was sending Reiki to the tree, I was wondering how it felt about the shopping mall. And that tree was just pure, unconditional love. It had no resentment about being built around. It had no resentment or any ideas about being ignored by humans who just thought it was a tree and decorative, whatever. But it had its own soul journey. And that tree told me that it considers itself a walker. Like, it is walking around the planet. So those trees originally came from India, and it had that tree, the consciousness of that tree was now in the Hawaiian Islands. And it was just worshiping the sun, being in total balance with nature and with
Mm.
the environment. And I just walked away from that so surprised, because I would not have thought that that's how the tree felt or thought about at all. But they're basically ascended masters, that we live amongst and can connect with at any time.
It is really so very important to connect, and it's all around us, and it's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. I could go on. So did you want to maybe move on to the next offering that you have coming up, Daphne?
Yeah, Stacy's event is coming up next week. So why don't we
Okay,
start?
let's go with
Yeah.
Stacy's. Thank you. Thank you. So, Stacy, if you want to tell us a little bit about what this is. I think you're muted.
So
Okay.
oh, I am muted. Am I muted?
You're done. You're good now.
Okay. This is my sacred She Time Circle. It's an intuitive art group that I co-host with my friend Lily. And with this circle, it's free to join, and we do it the first Thursday of every month at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Oh, actually, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And it's just a great way to kind of tap into that artistic, creative, intuitive side with a fun container of women where you can kind of just let that flow go and really tune into the energies around you. And this month we are going to be tapping into our muse. So it's just that creative energy that kind of drives us, and it'll just give us something to tap into to create something. And we're going to create an energetic portrait to represent the muse. So you don't need to
Wow.
know how to draw, you don't need to know how to paint, because it's about using your intuition. So it's about trusting yourself and having a safe container to do that. And the reason I love the art so much is because it really makes that energy made manifest. So you can look at it, you can feel it, you can continually receive healing, you can share it with others, and it's just fun to get messy and to play. And so, yeah, if anybody's interested, maybe Jean will leave the link below. So it'll
Yeah,
be
I
a lot
did.
of fun.
I actually I
Yeah.
put it in the chat here, and I'll also put it in the link below with the Sacred She Time. If anybody is
Thank you.
interested in learning more about that. Okay, the link for Daphne didn't work for you. Okay, I have that one too. Teresa is just saying, thank you, Teresa. So let's go on to the next one here, and I will work on Daphne's link.
Yeah, thank you. I'm doing a pure sound bath on April 28th at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. And this is for anyone who has lost someone special, a pet, a job, a house, anything that is really got you feeling heartbroken and grieving. And as Jean was talking about the sound bowls and how it has such an amazing clearing and physical, there is a definite physical effect of the sound bowls, and it does change your brain. And the intention behind this sound bath is that we will feel our grief and acknowledge it, and then we will move it out of our system, right? We will keep it moving, and we'll turn the corner on heartbreak and grief. And we won't forget our loved ones. We won't forget our beautiful pets, but we will allow our nervous system and our bodies to start to recover from that grief. So I'm really looking forward to that. I made it very affordable, so almost anyone can attend. And I do have 2-for-1 tickets available through the 1st in honor of Easter, which is such a beautiful season. I'm enjoying all the Easter greetings in the comments. I'd love you all to come if it calls to you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's wonderful. And I will also have the link to that in the notes below as well. So thank you for sharing that with us. And I have often received messages, and I learn a lot from the loved ones on the other side when I connect and they talk to me. And they say to the loved one who is here grieving, They say, take your time. They say, allow the process to unfold, that this is a physical human process that is, it is necessary to move through the physicalness of the emotion of the grieving. It's almost, they told me, it's like we're netted, we're linked between, we're linked and netted together like a woven fabric. And when this loved one leaves, there is like a tear and an opening and a real wound. And when this loved one's physicality detaches, the spiritual essence is still there with us. They haven't left our side. It's just their physicality. And they say that this wounding is a real physical wounding that we need to go through. And it's through our emotions and through the grieving. And there's like a circular, there's like a cycle, and you think that you're through it. And then you're standing in line at the bank and you just start welling up again. You're like, what the heck? Why is this coming up again? You think you're through, but it's really important to allow the process to happen, to not to rush, not to judge, not to and they said that there's also like an identity portion of this, that because when we are born and we look at our mother's and father's eyes and they reflect back to us who we are. Oh, you're such a sweet daughter. Oh, you're so kind. Oh, you're so funny. And they reflect back to us who we are. So when we lose this loved one, we are here like, who are we? Where are we? Where's my identity? We have to get to know who this energy is without that reflection or without that energy, even if it's just a phone call, without that energy reflecting back to us who we are. So there's so many different aspects to the grief. And I know this is from the loved ones. This is from the spirit guides and the information that's coming through. I'm sure it's all part of the grieving process in well-written books, but it's all new to me. And I love the way that they share this with me, and that I'm able to be the intermediary and help the loved ones who are asking for that connection to happen.
Yes, and as I prepare for that sound bath, I'm inviting the loved ones of everybody who is going to attend to be there with us, to celebrate and honor their life, and to encourage those who are still living to heal and fulfill their spiritual mission here on earth. We're still here. We have to keep going, right? We want them to be proud of us, and they support us every moment of the way.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean that we're not honoring them. But some people think if I stop crying, that means I don't want to, and it really isn't. It's really important that we find different ways to honor them and to incorporate them in our everyday lives, whether it be a picture on our car visor that we look at and kiss with our finger every day. There's the grieving and the pain and the sorrow doesn't have to extend. There's different ways of honoring them, and it's a real learning process. For sure. Okay, so let me see. What you also had another, let me just go to this that you said, your plant mentor. Okay, I have that. Okay. Oh, I see. These things are the same as the images that you gave me. Okay.
Does anyone, I wonder do any of your viewers have a question for us? And while they're thinking of that, Jean, I was going to comment on your crystals, the fact that you were drawn to put crystals around your flower essence glass that time. Yeah. Well, the bowls that I use are 99.9% crystal. So I'm not surprised at all that there was a resonance for that. And that's part of the magic of those bowls. The more I work with them, the more I realize that they are part of my spirit guide team. Those bowls are not what they appear to be. They have dimensionality and presence that I didn't expect. I knew they sounded beautiful. I knew that my certification in sound healing recommended those bowls, but I had no idea that they were going to be a force in my life, an energetic force. So
it is a subtle energy. It is a vibration that when you play them, the vibration is amplified and magnified so that we can feel it in a more prominent way. But when this crystal is here, this crystal is also moving. This crystal, they say, is not actually solid. It's moving at a very, very slow vibration. And when we all have these abilities to tune into the subtle frequency and vibration of many sentient and different frequencies around natural products in this world, that we all have the ability. It just is a matter of practice, slowing down, releasing, letting go, and moving into that space of our own vibration, and then opening up to this vibration and listening to it. Yeah, it's really amazing. I love crystals, and this one is calling to me. This one is a fluorite. It's my fluorite. And one day I was going to work, and it was a Friday, and it was the end of the month, and I was like, just, it was really a lot of, I was overworked, and it was a deadline, and there was a lot going on, and I was finishing getting ready, and I was leaving my bedroom, and I walked by. I have like this little cluster of crystals all lined up on my dresser out there, and I stopped in my tracks, and I backed up, and I looked, and this crystal was calling me. This crystal said, "Why don't you take me to work with you today? Why don't you just hold on to me?" And it really gave me like a comfort, a calming effect for me to be able to get through that. You know how when you're just burnt out and you can't even focus, but you have a lot of work to do? It really just gave me that the presence and the calmness to set aside that frustration or that stress in order to finish the job that I had to take care of that day. And I said, this crystal called me and stopped me in my tracks. And I love it. It's beautiful. I love fluorite. I love green. And I know that it's healing, but I had no idea until that day when it stopped me to call me. And it was just a little inkling. It was just a little feeling, but it wasn't until the end of the day that I realized how much support and love and help that it gave me. Yeah. So when you play those, it just amplifies. Yeah. So it's an amazing world that we all live in, and the subtle energies and the frequencies are really where it's at, and the veil is thinning. Our abilities are coming more and more apparent to all of us, and yeah, it's happening simultaneously. So is there anything else that you ladies would like to share in? Oh, did anybody have any questions? We were asking. No, I don't think so. A lot of people know that they're going to be watching this later, and I understand that everybody's busy the weekend before the holiday and trying to get ready and doing a lot of things. So we appreciate everybody that is here and viewing with us live, and everybody who's watching later, because I know a lot of you love to watch and get this information later. And we thank you very much for connecting with us. And like I said, all of the information that we saw in the graphics, I'm going to add the links and put it in the show notes below. I put a couple of links in the chat as well, if you'd like to go back to that. So is there anything that you would like to say in closing, Daphne?
I'm actually curious to hear what Stacey has to say about the summer solstice.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, we're planning another event similar to the one we did for the equinox, but it's going to be different flower essences, different activations. And I haven't completely tuned into it, but what has been coming forth is a real deep activation of our light bodies and really expanding our capacity to hold that light within the physical form. And I know specifically some of the flowers that Daphne has worked with are like masters at this and bringing in that cosmic light and those cosmic codes. Because I do agree with what you were saying, Jean, how our physical bodies are such a beautiful spiritual gift. and that this life is spiritual. And so we are just bringing more of our capacity to hold that light, to hold that higher consciousness, and to bring that higher octave of our existence into the everyday reality. And so I'm really excited to see how the summer solstice unfolds. We've already had people asking us for tickets since the last activation. So we're working on it. And it's definitely going to be something amazing and expansive, and something to really, really push us forward in this evolution, because I feel so much like there's just so much building up this year where we're really being asked to step up. We're asked to be really embodying our spiritual practice, really taking care of ourselves, really living at the highest octave of our lives, because nothing changes unless we change. And all these things, crystals, plants, nature, spirituality, the Akashic Records, all of these are just invitations. We have to take those invitations. We have to begin to embody them and use them in our everyday lives, or they're just kind of like the book on the shelf. And we want to give you as many experiences as we can for you to really experience and to integrate what it is, you came to experience, all that you came to be, so you can kind of push those limitations aside. Because I know so often for myself that it has always been looking outside. Well, is this okay to do? Are we ready for this? Am I going to be exiled from humanity? But it's kind of like, forget about that, because, we're the way showers. We're the one leading these people. And so we can't just wait for everybody. We have to pave the way. And so I know it's definitely something along those lines, and I'm excited and I'm energized for it. So yeah. If you got to say anything about it, Daphne.
Just looking forward to what the Akashic Records bring forward through us. But I'm really feeling drawn to crystals and incorporating crystals into the next one that we do.
Yeah.
So,
and
yeah.
Yeah. And as you guys were talking about, the plants and the crystals, they are the record keepers for the earth. Crystals have been around a lot longer than the humans. They're the bones of the earth. They're the ones who store this information for millions and millions of years. And I know when I first started to tap into the Akashic Records, first thing we learned to tap into was plants and crystals, because they have so much information. And it's very easy to connect with that kind of consciousness because they are open, they're giving, and they're willing to share that knowledge. Whereas, some people have reservations. So I really encourage people, start connecting, even just breathing with plants. That's the way I started. I would just, put my hands on a tree and you breathe with the breath of the tree. And it really is so activating and healing. And just being around these things, they have such a pure geometry. They have that pure what's the word I'm looking for? Unmessed with. I don't know the word, but they have that pure consciousness. They have that pure formation, that crystalline formation, and that pure codes that we can activate within ourselves. And so they are such a beautiful gift that we should utilize, and I highly recommend.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And you know how much everybody always wants to talk to their spirit guides and their loved ones and their higher self and their galactic family. Well, we're almost blinded by the miracles and the connections and the spiritual information and messages that we can get from the world around us. And it's really important for us to incorporate this into our daily practice and to, activate and incorporate that energy in this realm, in this world, in our everyday lives. And even if you just the water spirits, we haven't even gotten into water. When you say welcome water spirits, you stand in the shower and you say welcome water spirits. What do you have to share with me today? What information? And thank you for the cleansing nature, and thank you for making me smell so nice and clean and washing away all of my burdens and all of my woes. And there's just so much healing around all of it's just endless, you guys. These ladies are on the cutting edge. And what did Nikola Tesla said? If you want to learn the way of the future is through frequency and vibration. I mean, this is the way I think humanity was always intended to be, and that we're all moving back to. So, but I'm really excited about it, you guys. I'm so excited. So let us know in the show notes or in the comments below, and let us know what you'd like to see, what you're interested in, if you have any questions after the fact. And I'd love to have Daphne and Stacey back on again, either individually or together, and just keep talking about this. I think it's an amazing resource that is sort of on the underground. It's known, but it bears to be repeated again.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Gina.
you so
It's
much.
always a pleasure. I always learn so much from you.
It's fun. It's fun playing together, ladies. Yeah. All right. Well,
Yes,
thank you.
you so much. It
Thank
has
you.
been such an honor.
Oh, thank you, Stacey and Daphne. And thank you everyone for watching now and for watching later. And we wish you a very happy Easter if we don't see you. And thanks again. Take care, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Your support is greatly appreciated. If you enjoy this content, hit like, share, and subscribe. Remember to click the bell to be notified of future videos. Thanks again. Bye.